Welcome back to the SCIF. This is the Green Beret Life. I am Matt. That is Stu. One thing I want to start off with, Stu, is the pressure out there is working in the Senate for the SAVE Act. John Thune is absolutely useless, as you all know. And even though he says he wants to get this passed, he doesn't want to get it passed. He's trying to send everybody home. They're like one vote short. I don't know if you knew this because we talked about this before. Mitch McConnell. Nobody knows what's going on. It's suspected that he's a vegetable, right? Yeah. And it's completely, I might be over exact, but he's not up to snuff.
He isn't competent to serve his function.
So we're just like 1 to 2 votes short, right? And if you got that one, up until the 3rd, he could have been replaced, and Bashir couldn't replace him because this legislature, that's what we had talked about before. And I thought Bashir could replace him. The legislature had passed legislation that it said, no. There has to be a special election all the way up until August 3rd. They had to make it look like everything is okay until August 3rd, because August 3rd, you have to wait until the election, because now it's too close to the election according to the legislation that was written. This was an operation that was run by the Rhino establishment on the American people and on the people of Kentucky. That's what that was. That being said, the pressure campaign is working because we have some patriots in the House. In order to keep them back, instead of taking a recess in August, Thune's trying to send everybody home, okay? They only need 11 people to, I think it's called a quorum. They need 11 people, okay? And they got 14 or 15, and it's growing. And this charge has been led by Mike Lee and a few of the other patriots in the Senate. We have a few, right? The pressure is working. We're getting closer and closer and closer. Keep up the pressure. Keep calling your senators. Keep calling your congressmen, even though the Congress has already done its part. We need to keep pressure on the Rhino establishment to make sure this gets done. We cannot allow this clown thing.
Matt, how much can you be showing your hand if they're literally 1 and 2 votes away, and he's like, "Oh, nothing we can do. Everybody go home."
Exactly.
That's when you say, "No, we're not leaving until we do something as close as it is."
And he thinks he's fooling everybody, because he thinks he's fooling everybody, but that is the exact response everybody should have. That's when you earn your stripes and go to work as the Senate leader, majority leader, and you get that one. Yes. So, but just like Stu said, he's showing his colors, and we already knew this. Everybody that watches this show knew what John did. Yeah. So that's just the one thing I wanted to say. We do have a good show for you tonight. Boy, there's a lot that's been going on. We had a Patriot stop. A few people unfortunately passed away, but we had a Patriot stop, many more murders. Actually, 2. You're hearing only about 1. There was an off-duty cop there that was returning fire as well. So that happened in and out in was it Idaho or Utah?
I don't remember.
Idaho. I think it was Idaho.
Ask me, and I don't remember, but I've read like several stories.
Yeah. So, but another one.
Idaho.
Yep. The media cannot hide this one. They cannot hide this one. And it's funny because I watched on YouTube some coverage that Good Morning America did. And if you look at the comments below, it is 100% pro 2A. And it's great to see it. And even watching their coverage of this, they know. They know that
the thing is, the people with no good intentions, they're going to just ignore the fact that there was a good guy with a gun and an off-duty cop, and they'll just pivot and say, well, if there weren't any guns at all, he wouldn't have been there to, they'll just move the goalposts because they're disingenuous. They don't they don't care that he was able to defend somebody. And just say, okay, the guy didn't have a gun. He had a knife, or he had a what, you have someone that is able to level a playing field and defend someone who can't defend themselves.
Do you know what this, Do you know what this savage had on him? This good savage had on him, dude. Do you know what he was
It
shooting
was a
back with?
suppressed 5.7, wasn't it?
It was a five, but that he was carrying in a shoulder holster. Now I don't know what good a suppressor does on a 5.7 because that round needs speed. That's
That
the whole
round's
idea.
moving.
Yeah, but
That round's moving like 8,000 feet per second.
it's not that fast, but it's fast, and he's carrying it. This is not any way I would advise, but boy, the moment came and this dude stepped up. So God bless this dude and the off-duty cop that saved who knows how many lives that day. Okay. Another thing that happened is Moroccans invaded Spain, and it sounds like it's all.
You know what it reminded me of, Matt?
What?
It reminded me of when
our border.
when Biden had them lift the concertina wire up with the forklift, and the river was just flooding into the country, and everybody going, nothing to see here. This is fine.
Well, these migrants flooded into this country and started attacking the people that lived there, the shop owners. If you look at the town, and now it's destroyed. It's destroyed. But the good news is a bunch of Spanish patriot men have stepped up and have pushed back shop owners and everything else, where their police is overwhelmed. Why isn't the military? What military they have? Why isn't it on that border? Stop it.
Because they were let in on purpose. Why would the government that let them in now deploy the military to stop something they allowed to happen?
Exactly. But there's a big Catholic ceremony coming up, a celebration that happens every year, and they're moving forward with this, and they're marching it through town, even though these roving, all men, are gangs of men are chanting Allahu Akbar as they roll through.
Matt, they're disenfranchised youths looking for asylum from their war-torn countries.
Well, did you see there was an interview with some of these people coming from Africa on boats, and they're talking about identifying witches, women on the way, and binding them up and throwing them over the boats on the way to Europe. Did you see any of this?
Well, I mean,
they're like, oh, I know she's
not a witch. She'll float. I mean, everybody knows that.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's unbelievable. This is unreal. What is going on? But the world is seeing it. It's on all full display. And if they don't run out that Marxist leader of Spain, who was never fully elected, right? He was in place because there wasn't a plurality. And a whole group of liberal. This is how they do it over there. They have when they lose. This is what they did in France. They all join forces. All the liberal elements in politics join together, and then together they have the numbers. But that's how this guy came to office. And if the Spanish people don't run this bastard out, I don't know what's going to happen, because we're seeing history repeating itself. We're seeing Spain invaded by, it's the Moor invaders all over again that took over Spain, that had to be pushed out by the Crusaders. Yeah. So that's what it is. This is an invasion, period. Amen. Look at the video.
You can't characterize it as anything but that. I mean, you really can't. Any other characterization is just blatantly incorrect.
The town has 83,000 people apparently, and the first day they said there were 60,000 people, and then it was rising. I heard numbers up past 100,000, and you just saw them lined up. And apparently, there's some judge in Spain basically said, if you can get here by sea, you'll get asylum. So all they're doing is going around this rock outcropping and swimming to it, and then touching Spanish soil, and they got there by sea. Right.
They need to load them, do like Texas did, load them up on a bus and send them to Spain's equivalent of Martha's Vineyard.
Well, what they're doing, and they're headed towards England, right? A lot of them. This is the rumor. Now, another thing that's apparently the United States put pressure on the Moroccan government to keep them from flooding Spain with migrants, right? And what happened with Spain and the United States this year? What happened? Right?
I don't know this one.
Well, you had this Marxist president that basically embraced Islam, right? And Palestine, and went against the United States over Iran and Israel over Iran, and basically wouldn't let us use our bases in Spain. And not only would he not let us use our bases, he wouldn't let us use the airspace.
I remember
right?
that now. Yep.
Yeah. So this is Trump was saying we're going to kick you out of NATO. Period. You don't pay, and he refused to pay any of his dues towards NATO. Refused. So
it's like, again, it's like any other club. If you don't pay your membership, you're no longer a member of that club. You
correct.
can reapply at a later date, but you no longer enjoy the benefits of that association.
Correct. That's this is what's going on in Europe, and I think the whole world has seen it now. They have seen it. There's no question about what's going on, and there's no hiding the fact that this is a full-blown invasion. It's a full-blown invasion, and they're coming to destroy and make everything into their image. They want Sharia law. Everybody will bow to this is the same story that's been going on for millennium.
Well,
right?
Here's the funny part, Matt. They're fleeing their shithole countries
Mm-hmm.
because they're a war-torn, desolate wasteland, but they're coming here and don't want to assimilate because they want to turn our country into their country that they fled from because it's a war-torn dystopian shithole.
Fleeing the war-torn, because Morocco isn't really war-torn, right? So fleeing the war-torn bullshit is just a cover story that gets the leftist European and Americans on their side, so they can run that story in the media over and over and over again. The false propaganda, which is what they do. They're really here to convert and change by force. Period. That's what they're here for. I don't know if you saw what happened to Nick Shirley. I think he was in Spain, where they ran him down. A guy was trying to stab him with a knife, and they were throwing rocks at him the whole 9 yards. Oh yeah. So, these European countries are in so much trouble, and let that be a warning. Let that be a warning with the Second Amendment, and tying this right back to the story we were talking about it in and out. The second we lose the Second Amendment, we'll lose everything. You'll wind up like Europe. We can never, ever, ever allow. And then I love the lectures that we get from Europeans, especially down here in South Florida. You got a bunch of Europeans that come over here, wealthy ones that come over here, and they love to lecture us on healthcare and guns, right? And the hubris off of these clueless tards, right? The hubris off of these people is unfrickin' real, unreal. As their countries are being taken over and invaded and taken over and conquered, right? We don't take lectures from any of them. We don't take lectures from failed European countries like Great Britain. What's produced in Great Britain? What are they a power in anything anymore? They used to be one of the main movers and shakers in the world. The British Empire was massive and expanding, right? They produce nothing. All of their major car companies been sold off to India and China, or the United States, right? Or Germany, right? They produce nothing. They don't even have a military. Remember their vaunted Navy, right? Their vaunted Navy.
Matt,
they only have
one ship. I want to throw a stat at you here. Julie showed me this video, and it was actually a comedian that made the joke, and I was like, I'm going to look at that. She was joking about the Europeans doing just what you said, just ridiculing.
Who was the comedian? Who was the comedian?
Lady. I can't remember her name.
Aaron Wexler. Aaron Wexler, yes. Is that her name? She is so damn funny. Yes, she's excellent.
So she was talking about the Europeans, and how high and mighty and hoity-toity they are about gun deaths. And she made the point that there are more Europeans killed by the summer
the heat
in Europe than there are killed by guns in the United States.
There are more.
I'm like, wait, hold on. And it's 175,000 people annually in Europe are killed by the summer, by heat, in 3 or 4 months, than the approximately 44,000 people that die from gun-related injuries in the United States.
You can't make this up. You can't make it up.
I heard that, and I was dying. She's like, they die from no air conditioning. It's
Yeah,
like,
and it's all self-inflicted because they put these bogus. They think they're saving the environment, which they're not,
yeah,
right? So what they're doing is turning you into the third world. So that's what they're doing. So yeah, that she is funny. Her
yeah.
name's I think Aaron Wexler, and
Aaron or Ari or something. Yeah,
yeah, and she does
she's
not
funny.
give a shit. Anybody
Yeah.
who hasn't watched her stuff, go watch her on YouTube. She is funny.
All right. Well, since Matt came out the gate hot, we've not even talked about what stories we've
Oh
got
yeah.
for today. Um, we've got the Justice Department's leading its largest denaturalization effort right
Finally.
now to basically remove the citizenship granted to individuals due to fraud, them lying, and defrauding the government on their applications, whether it be their criminal history, just different things that they've lied about, overstaying visas and lying about it, all this stuff that they've lied
Mhm.
about in order to get their citizenship. The DOJ is now going after them to rescind that and revoke it. So we'll look at that. I think they're doing 25 right now, and there's been 100 and something, 123 cases filed. Right now it's a grain of sand, but it's something.
Mhm.
And if nothing else, even if it's not the movement we want to see on the surface, if it does nothing but dissuade another one from attempting it, knowing that this could happen, we can hope. Um, Rand Paul has scheduled a contempt vote for Fauci, and I've found a really good article that is talking about the Fauci's pardon and him pleading the fifth and kind of I guess the legal mechanics of everything that went on, and
Mhm.
he may have screwed himself with that. We'll look at that. It was really interesting when I was reading the article.
Well, speaking of that, did you see him up there? That dude is he's rattled. He is rattled.
Oh yeah,
It,
he's scared shitless.
we've been talking about this going on a year, and it looks like we were full of shit when we said it, but I still will stick by it. I think he's going to go down, and I think he's going to be one of their sacrificial lambs, right? I mean, it couldn't be a better one, really.
Yeah. No, he's
Um,
not sacrificial. He freaking did it. He's not
yeah, but I
being
think there's other people that are heavily involved in this, and they're going to use him to take the blame for all of them, right?
yeah.
And
Well, you know what? He put himself up there as the face of science,
yes,
as the end all be all messiah of the infectious.
well,
You know?
do you remember him with Rand Paul? Because Rand Paul's an ophthalmologist, which is a medical doctor,
Yeah,
right? And he's basically looking down on him, questioning his doctorness, for
yeah,
lack of a better term, right?
yeah. And
And
it was
Rand
like, when
Paul
was the
said,
last
"Wait a
time
minute."
you saw a patient,
Yeah,
Fauci?
that's what Rand Paul said to him. He's like, "Wait a
In
second,
what decade?
I volunteer. I volunteer every year and go do charity work and see patients all over the world. When was the last time you saw a patient, Dr. Fauci? When was
Yeah,
the last time you treated a patient? It's been over 50 years. So don't
yeah,
lecture me on who the real doctor is, you know?
yeah. I should
So
have asked you, in what decade did you last see a patient? In what
exactly.
century did you last see a patient?
Well, that's it. Can you imagine trying to talk down on somebody who's an ophthalmologist? Because the last time I looked, they're a medical doctor just like anybody else, and the eye is a complex organ. I mean,
Yeah,
what in the hell? Who are these dipshits that do this? I mean, I maybe there's a hierarchy of doctors. You
maybe.
know,
Well,
I
yeah, I wouldn't know. I'm not in that
yeah.
elite club.
I would say that it just this is typical of the left. It's typical of the left. I remember Milley. A bunch of generals got together that were when they saw what they were trying to do with with Afghanistan when they were pulling out of Afghan, and they were trying to. And I remember Milley saying something like, "How many of them were 4 stars?" Well, one of them was General Boykin, right? Former commander of Delta Force, just a complete badass. SF dude, Delta Force, one of the most badass generals. If they, you know, my feeling on ossifers, right?
Yes.
I'm not a big ossifer fan, right? But this guy is a guy you could be a fan of, okay? And he made fun of him because he wasn't a 4-star. Well, here's the joke. Back then, nobody was a 4-star. This is a new phenomenon that came about through Clinton and Obama. All of this 4-star bullshit with all these 4. It's phony, fake, and false. General Milley couldn't hold General Boykin's jockstrap. You know, it's so. This is their attitude. They get this elite. They're elites. This is why we call them elites. They are self-anointed elites.
Matt, you need to phrase it properly. They are our betters.
Yes, they are our betters in their own mind.
We just need to realize that and accept it. I mean, there are just people that are better than we are, and we should allow them to tell us what.
I mean, if you don't believe it, just go read Fauci's diary. First of all, what straight male keeps a diary, right?
I wonder if it had like unicorns on it with the little clock.
Yeah. Little sticker stars on there and all sorts of stuff.
He's got a little key around a little necklace he wears to open it up and unlock
rainbows and hearts. Yeah. So I mean, these people are freaking weirdos. We all know it. They every time they open their mouths, they prove even more who they are. They can't help themselves. They're technically rejects. They are not normal people. They're not humble. They're not patriots. They're not any of the above. They're all about it for themselves and the people that give them opportunities. They're masters. That's who they're in it for. They're not here to serve anybody except themselves. That's what they are.
Next story.
The
next story I have here is you know, Matt's favorite rapper / music video star.
Oh yeah. I can imagine.
Mamdani.
Oh yeah.
Guess what? We talked last week about their 30% off grocery stores and everything, right?
Yeah.
Well, guess what now? They're talking about demanding ID in order to receive that 30% discount.
I heard they weren't going to ask for IDs in the store. Well, double check. Type that in right now, because I saw something on Fox Business today that they're not going to require any IDs for the store, so you don't have to prove that credit card is yours.
No, they're walking. There's been a couple of stories because it came out that they were going to ask for IDs, and then they're like, "Oh well, no. What we meant was like maybe something like a library card." Okay, you still have to go and get it. Yeah, and that's the thing. And then they were like, "Oh well, maybe it'll be like a loyalty rewards card." So they've backed up what they've said. They started out said, "You need to have an ID because it's only for New Yorkers and it's only for this." Then they backed it up and said, "Well, maybe it'll be something more akin to like a library card." And now they backed it up again, saying, "Well, maybe it's more like your loyalty rewards card, like at ShopRite." So do it. The statement now they're backing it up because they're getting roasted.
I think they must have caught some bullshit from this story right here, because I think something happened today. Just double check on that for me, because I think something happened today that they're reversing this and they're not going to require any IDs whatsoever. So any clown can come in with a credit card or whatever, and you can't even ask them, "Hey, is that credit card yours?" Nope, they got the credit card, it's theirs. Not to mention that the food's going to be sold at cost, which means they're going to be running every other grocery store out of business.
No, not at cost. 30% below cost on the staple items, which again, they're talking about was chicken, beef,
which was the story we talked last week. Yes. Yeah. So this is not going to end well, folks. This is not going to end well. You're going to run a bunch of people out of business. They're not going to have, the government can't do this. You are not going to have reliable grocery stores in the city of New York. Why anybody with any amount of money that's able to get out doesn't get out is beyond me, because Believe me, they're coming for you. If you've got money, they're coming for you because there's no way for them to pay for any of this. No way for it. You've got complete incompetent tools running this city now and running the state. They know nothing about budgeting. They know nothing about running a small little tiny grocery store as opposed to running the biggest city in the United States. This is going to be a disaster of monumentous proportions, period.
All right. I've got another story here for you, Matt. This is one you're going to love. A father shoots his daughter's alleged rapist and then is charged by the authorities and given a higher bond than the individual that was raping his daughter.
Of course, what state?
And Matt, the daughter was 11.
Oh my Lord! And
This
was the
individual
individual that got shot an illegal?
This was in Ohio. Well, we don't know if he's illegal, but his name is Diego Montoya Gonzalez.
Oh boy! I hate
City, Ohio.
I hate to say, but Hispanics that are American don't do this shit. This is all illegals from out of the country. This is what this is.
That would be sure, interesting to find out.
But if they're not mentioning his legal status, right? Yeah. Red flag.
Troy, I missed this. Troy said Fauci used to help sailors with scurvy.
Yeah.
The last time he saw a patient.
Well,
he was treating scurvy.
People forget. We did a story. This was when Chris was still on the show. We did a story about a doctor, and I'm trying to remember. This was a long time ago we did this, but it was a female doctor who discovered how to identify HIV in, I think, saliva or urine, one of these. It was a breakthrough study that they didn't have the technology. She did. Well, Fauci didn't like what she wrote in her book, so asked her to turn the book over to him so they could rewrite it. Right? This is science, right? And she refused to do it. And then they went to her boss, and her boss couldn't make her do it. So you know what? She wound up in jail. I think her name was like Moskowitz or something. She wound up in jail, and Fauci got the book and rewrote it. This is, and he was also behind the AZT fiasco that killed all sorts of AIDS patients way back in the early 80s. So I remember these things. I remember AZT. I'm older than I look. I'm 55. So I remember all of this shit that was going on when the AIDS epidemic broke out. And the country was panicked. The country was panicked by it. But this guy has been in no good, Nick, going all the way back. We found out that he was getting kickbacks legally while working for the federal government and the highest paid individual in the federal government, right? Yeah. He was getting kickbacks from pharmaceuticals, which was 100% legal, right? How? Okay. And then they did a deep dive, and I said this last week too, but I'll keep saying it. They did a deep dive into his net worth, and his net worth came back as like $10 million. That is so much bullshit. There's no way that guy's not worth at least $100 million. There's no way. He must be the dumbest.
Tied up in other things. Things are under other people's names. And
Marjorie Taylor Greene is worth $25 million, and she was only in government for a few years. Okay. Yeah. Ilhan Omar was $30 million, although she penciled that back. Oh, it was an accounting error. I'm worth $10,000 or whatever she says.
Yeah. You don't go from 30 million to 10,000.
This is such a scam, folks. They need to do a deep dive into what this guy's really worth. And I guarantee you, you'll be shocked.
We've been going for 30 minutes and we haven't gotten a story yet. But since we're on Fauci, I want to bring him up because this was what I was talking about with his pleading the fifth and everything. Because this was a big thing that came up whenever they were trying and pulling Trump's members of the executive branch in there, and they were being told, look, you have, the immunity from being in the executive, the separation of powers. and they were trying to use the mechanics of the way things worked as that, well, no, you actually, by giving an opening statement, you waived your ability to plead the fifth and this and that. Well, Fauci has done the same thing. And
well, if you get a pardon, from what I understand, Stu, if you get a pardon, you have to answer questions. You can't plead the fifth, right?
Correct.
So, yeah.
Well, what this is a legal analyst, and he's saying, despite having a pardon from Biden spanning more than a decade, Fauci refused to answer a single question, even though he knew he couldn't be charged for crimes during that period. The senator explains Fauci's Fifth Amendment protections no longer applied because of his presidential pardon, and that Fauci also waived any remaining privilege by delivering an opening testimony. And I remember that being a sticking point with one of Trump's people. They were like, "Oh, well, he spoke in front and gave an opening testimony, so he was already testifying. He can't testify and then plead the fifth."
Was that oh shit. I know who it was. I'll think of it.
I don't remember who it was exactly. I just remember the
I know who it
situation.
was. I know who it was. My brain isn't working. I've had a few brain injuries, folks.
Well, they go on to say the Supreme Court has made it clear pleading the fifth is confined to instances where the witness has reasonable cause to apprehend danger from a direct answer. He can't plead the fifth if he has a pardon for anything that happened in that time. But he's pleading the fifth anyway. It says the Supreme Court also cautions that self-incrimination refers to past activities only, not impending perjury or false statements resulting from the questions. So he can't plead the fifth or self-incrimination for perjury for what he's being asked right now, or false statements that he would give in response to those questions. It's only for self-incrimination for past acts. Also,
Steve
the Fauci fifth is not legally appropriate just because truthful answers would have the tendency to disgrace. Now, the big thing that gets down here, and this was the part I found really interesting. There was, and this is involving his pardon. And you know, Matt, as a police officer, someone has to positively affirm that they are pleading the fifth. They're not answering questions. You know, they want their right to an attorney. They have to positively.
Pleading the fifth usually occurs in court, right? Because when somebody's arrested, before you want to interview them, you have to read them the Miranda. I know on the TV shows, they arrest somebody and they say, you have the right to remain. No. That happens after the arrest. And when you want to try to get a statement, you have to read them from Miranda, and you have to read it from a card because you can't screw any of it up. And then they can say they either want to talk or they don't want to talk, right? And that's when that normally happens. So pleading the fifth, that happens in court.
So the with this right here, this was a Supreme Court case of Burdick versus United States. George Burdick was an editor at the New York Tribune. He was issued a pardon by President Wilson for any federal offenses he may have committed in connection with the publication of an article regarding fraud. Burdick had not been charged with a crime, and no criminal investigation had begun. Despite the preemptive pardon, Burdick refused to testify before a grand jury, instead asserting his Fifth Amendment right not to provide testimony that would tend to incriminate him. Burdick never affirmatively asserted or declared his pardon. The Supreme Court concluded that it was Burdick's right to refuse the pardon and stand on his Fifth Amendment objection. In other words, if you plead the fifth, you abandon or otherwise refuse your pardon. He said Fauci refused or abandoned his pardon by invoking his right against self-incrimination, then activities covered in the pardon may again be ripe for prosecution. So there's a Supreme Court that has 90% parallels to exactly what Fauci has done and did and is doing. And they ruled that if you plead the fifth, you disregard the protections of the pardon.
Well, you know, I think this is, I think here's who's going to save Fauci, if you want to know the truth, if he gets saved. Rhino Republicans in the Senate.
Yes.
That's who's going to save, just so you know, right? And everybody here does. This is why we say rhinos are worse than Democrats. So, but I don't think this guy's going to get saved. I don't think he's going to get saved. This guy, I think, is going to go down, and I think he's going to go down and to sort of take the heat off of other people that are farther up the food chain. That's what I
think. They're going to let him take rounds, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it'll probably be done in a way where he can't do a damn thing about it, right? It'll probably be organized. He won't be able to do a damn thing about it. He's going to go down. But you know what? He's a good one to go down. He is a good one.
Yeah, he is not a scapegoat. He is not someone who's being set up to take the fall. He was well damage to the nation.
Yes. He was one of the manipulators of all of this and the election. He was one of the manipulators of that too, because they wouldn't have been able to do what they did if we didn't have all of these mail-in ballots from home.
Yeah. Yeah. So this was a story I thought was really, really interesting, because like I said, there were a lot of mechanics involved in, well, if he gave his opening statement, he's waived his right to plead the fifth by testifying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's really interesting because, like we said, this same argument was used against members of Trump's first administration. Oh, well, he testified. He can't now plead the fifth. They were and again, Democrats are nothing if not. Well, I'm trying to think of the way to phrase it. They are nothing if not inconsistent in their application of rules and the law, because they were the ones, you know, screaming and tearing out their hair about, well, he can't plead the fifth. He already testified. Technically this, technically that. But with Fauci, they'll hand wave it away of, oh, well, it doesn't matter because he's on their side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But he's a pile of trash. He's an arrogant, smug little troll. And this guy is responsible for a lot of what went down. Knowing, then when he comes out that he had a vaccine injury, I would have guessed he never took the vaccine, but he actually must have, and had a vaccine, and they covered it all up and were still pushing infants to get vaccines. This is insane. It is nuts. These people cannot be allowed to get away with this. They cannot be allowed. And believe me, they've got another one in the pipe. And he predicted there was going to be, if I'm not mistaken, Stu, didn't he predict that there was something coming? And then it all of a sudden shows up while he was funding this. Unreal. And the shit, don't forget about the shit he was doing to dogs overseas. Remember those beagles where they had their heads in a tent where they were being attacked by flies? Do you remember that?
Yeah,
this
here
is a pile of trash.
In 2017, Fauci predicted that the incoming Trump administration would face a surprise outbreak of an infectious disease. Now, AI is telling me this statement was not a forecast for COVID-19, but rather a general warning based on historical patterns.
Yes.
Okay, what historical pattern has there been of outbreaks of infectious diseases? Now
remember, it's Google AI. So
I know, but I'm asking the question: what historical pattern has there been of infectious outbreaks in the United States in the last 100 years?
Very few. Very, very few.
Right?
Yeah. So
but now Freedom said, I would also question the legitimacy of all of Biden's pardons.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And the whole auto pen thing, we haven't heard the last of that. We haven't heard the last of it. Um, I'm 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 a little bit worried that a lot of this is getting overshadowed by this Iranian war that needs to be taken care of. And I'm it needed to be done, but it needs to be taken care of.
That's what's so frustrating, Matt, is the not the people, but the the government, our senators, our representatives, our even our executive branch, they some of them act like they can only do one thing at a time.
Mhm.
Oh, we can't investigate Fauci because there's something going on in Iran.
Yeah.
You have more than
Well,
3 people up
yeah.
there.
The
It's
the
so
the
frustrating.
but it's the media too, and it's we already know the media is the enemy of the people, right? And you can't hate the media enough, right? Um, but
If
this
you
is
think
what
you
we're up
can, you're
against.
wrong.
Yeah, this is what we're up against, uh, and I'm going to say right now they know that oil prices, that's what's holding inflation from getting back to normal and all of this nonsense. We got to get our oil prices down. I heard that Chevron and BP made absolutely record numbers in the last quarter, and we're still paying $4 a gallon in gas where I'm at, and it's more expensive in other parts of the country. And Trump came out and started beating them up about it, and a bunch of people came to the defense of the oil companies. Well, I'm a fan of the oil companies, right? But there's a real problem. Trump just saved their industry. And if they're so short sighted that they can't, you know, make sure that they start decreasing gas prices when they're making record numbers for the good of the country and the good of their own industry going into the future, there's something freaking wrong. So anybody
Right.
defending them on this needs to have their head examined.
What we said, Matt, is Trump could cure cancer, and the headline would be Trump contributes to global overpopulation and food shortages.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what he does, there is a segment of the population and a segment of our government that is going to be against it. It does not matter. He comes out against the oil companies. Who is the left's favorite boogeyman
The
other
oil
than the
company.
oil companies?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Absolutely
so
is.
it really pisses me off. Trump has opened up so many opportunities for these oil companies. They were trying to run them out of existence with this bullshit net zero bullshit
Yes.
that was designed to make sure that you didn't have a car in the future. That's what this was all about. And and how convenient to get us into 15-minute cities, right? So Trump saves the industry, right? And opens up Venezuela. Once this deal in Iran is taken care of, oil's going through the roof, ups production in the United States, is working a deal with Alberta, all of this. And what are we doing? The Europeans are trying to keep gas prices up by limiting Russia's supply that they can provide on the open market. And the oil companies here are charging exorbitant amounts when they're making record profits, when all they would have to do is knock the prices down by about a quarter for the time being, where they'd still be making good money and they would help get our economy rolling. A quarter is a big freaking deal. If we were paying 375 as opposed to 399, that's a big freaking deal.
And like
And they've
we've
got to do
talked
something about
about,
diesel. Yeah, you know who makes money on diesel? The government.
yeah, because the
So
taxes, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
I see $5, $6 a gallon diesel. That is a crime. It's an absolute crime. And you
Oh,
want to
I
know
think
why
Matt
we can't get
froze.
inflation down? That's it, right there.
The point he's making is when it comes to fuel prices, they lead everything. Everything is tied to fuel. Whenever you
Mhm.
go with look at your local Walmart at the trucks that are piled in behind there delivering. When you go to the
Yep.
grocery store, the semis that are delivering stuff there. When you go to your local McDonald's or Dairy Queen, the semi trucks that are delivering that food and all there. Everything has uh, a, a, an additional cost associated with transportation. And
The
then that
cost of
cost
getting
goes
on a
up as
freaking
fast
airplane.
home.
The cost of getting on an airplane, to
Yeah.
travel, to do business, to all of this. It all affects the prices that we're paying on everyday goods and items that we need.
Yep.
So,
What other story did you want, Matt? We've got 15 minutes left. I know we've got several that we've gotten to one because we've been hitting everything or we've gotten two.
Well, I'm all about talking about some gun stuff right now, to be honest with you.
Okay.
You,
We can
you have any
do
ideas?
that.
You have any
Well,
ideas?
you know what? We'll talk about gun stuff leading into this one right here.
Okay.
This is the stellar individual, and when you read the story, it gets even worse than the headline. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so this guy was shot by the 11-year-old's father. Okay, and the mom, and it doesn't specify how the mom.
The story. Do you have the story up yet? Because I can't see it, Stu.
There's the guy.
I
So
can't see the story.
you can't. I'm sharing it.
Yeah, and you're cutting in and out real hard.
Okay,
It's not.
I don't
All
know
I
if
see is a chest protector and an M4 and a Sig 226.
so
Now you're gone.
what about now? Is that any better? Or am I back?
Now I've got the circle of death, and you're all black. I can't even see you. Are you there? Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, looks like I'm the one that's left here, guys. I'm trying to figure out what story Stu was bringing up, and here he comes back. Okay, can you
Is that
see me
any
now?
better? I dropped out and rejoined.
Yeah, I can see you now. I thought we lost you for good, so I was like, "Oh, I got to come up with something."
All right, let me see
if you
if
can
I can
share
share
the
my
story.
screen again. Can you see my screen now?
There it is. I got it. I got it now.
This is the individual here, and it doesn't say how, but the mom apparently discovered video footage of her 11-year-old daughter being
Oh my Lord.
by this guy here. And it says the day after the footage was found, the child's father posed as his daughter on TikTok to lure Montoya Gonzalez back to the home where he was shot twice. The dad said he acted in self-defense, claiming he only wanted to beat up Montoya, but saw him reach for a gun first. This dad's bond was set at $100,000.
My Lord.
Okay. In addition to the footage of the 11-year-old girl that was found, this guy's daughter, investigators also found several other videos on this guy's phone showing him doing the same thing to other children.
Infant or toddler. Holy.
Most disturbing, one video showed an infant or toddler being subjected to this behavior. In an infuriating move, a judge has set Gonzalez's bond at $70,000, $30,000 less than the father that attempted to do everyone a favor.
Oh my Lord. He was on a recognizance bond. Oh my. These judges got to go. These judges, they need to be impeached. You cannot allow this. You cannot allow this. So we have a guy that we don't know if it's an illegal alien, but we can probably assume he is, right? And a judge releasing this pile of trash on a bond that he's going to be able to make. This is absolutely bullshit. And then going after the father like this. Where in Ohio? It has to be like Toledo, Cleveland, one of the big cities, Cincinnati.
Where did I say? Grove City?
What?
I don't know where Grove City is.
Grove City, Ohio. Let's see what that is. Where that is. It's got to be a suburb of one of the major metropolitan areas.
Yeah, it's outside of Columbus.
Okay. There you go. There you go. All of these cities, Ohio has more major cities in it than I think any other state, which you normally don't think of as Ohio. But these Ohio's a red state, but the problem is the major cities inside of Ohio are all leftist shitholes, and that's where this is coming from. That's where this is coming from. They're going to punish the guy who was a hero, the father, and they're going to release the illegal on a recognizance bond. This is insane.
I say we start a GoFundMe to get the
The father out of jail.
Some training.
We don't know if this guy is in illegal, but I'm pretty much assuming. Can we do some research? Was this guy illegal? Put his name in. Diego Montoya Gonzalez, who was shot. Was he killed, or did he live?
No, he's still kicking.
Let's see if he's illegal. I have a feeling Google isn't going to help us. I saw something that I want to post here. There's somebody did a video, and I think I pushed it out, but I'm going to go back. It gave you a list of search engines to use that don't hide what you're looking for, like Google on political correctness.
Yeah. There's none of these that are
people look at all of this bullshit and they're not telling you whether it was illegal or not. What does that tell you? Blue collar logic. What does that tell you?
Yeah, because it would normally say, if there were a question, an American citizen or something.
Here, I'm going to do a quick search. I'm going to do a search on Brave and see if we get any different results. Okay. I want to open up another. Okay. Search Brave. Spell his name for me again? Let me see. Welcome back to
SCIF. Diego, Diego, Montoya, Montoya, Gonzalez, Gonzales.
Diego Montoya. Boy, let me see what I get. I'm interested to see what happens here. It's thinking. Something's happening. The little circle's going round and round. 20-year-old resident of Grove City is currently facing serious crime. He is not the same person as the deceased Colombian drug lord, Leon. Okay. Gonzalez was arrested, 2 counts of rape, 1 count of obstructing the shooting incident. Is he illegal? Why am I not getting this? Because maybe they're hiding this.
Maybe.
The Gateway
Pundit. So we've got a few minutes, Matt. I think the last time we talked about something, I think it may have been Troy that tossed it up, was the color on optics, red or green.
Oh,
so another one I've got here.
Okay.
Weapon lights on your carry gun. Yes or no?
Okay, so in the past I would have said absolutely yes. Okay, but is your carry gun your home defense gun as well?
Mine is. Mine's on my nightstand if I'm not wearing it.
If that's your home defense gun or your first line home defense gun, right? The gun that you get to your rifle with, you definitely should have a light on it. Okay. Now my carry gun that I carry, I don't have a light on it. Now, if you don't have a light on it, you should have a flashlight on your nightstand too, right? But I used to always have lights on all my guns, right? Now, if it was my dedicated nightstand gun, right? That wasn't I would 100% for sure have a light on that gun, right? So if it's the gun that you use as your nightstand gun, which many people do, their carry gun is their nightstand gun. If it is your nightstand gun, put a light on it, okay? Put a light on it. And if you don't have issues carrying that gun with a light on it, rock it with a light on it. Me, I try to make my carry as small and comfortable as possible. I carry mine without a light, my carry gun. But my home defense gun has a light on it. All my rifles have lights on them. They all have lights. When I was a cop, I was big because I was the instructor for the department. It was one of our instructors, and I made sure that everybody had lights on their guns as a cop, because that's your primary duty weapon. And if you're searching a house that's dark, opening, you don't want your hands tied up. Opening a closet by yourself, could be a bad guy.
Flashlight in one hand and a gun in
Yeah,
another hand, trying to open a door. Yeah,
exactly. So if it's your duty gun, if it's your home defense gun, it's imperative that you have a light on it, in my opinion. I know everybody's got a different idea on this, and I hate saying people are wrong on things, but my logic is you want to be able to identify who's in your house. I always use that adage. You wake up in the middle of the night.
Bad things happen in the dark.
Yeah, you wake up in the middle of the night, you hear something downstairs, you go down with a gun that has no light on it, you see a shadow, you might do something that you're not quite sure. You turn the light on, it's your neighbor's kid. Maybe he was on drugs, maybe he was there with ill intent, you don't know. But the problem is you didn't positively identify the individual before the bullets started flying, which may have been justified, may not have been, right? If somebody's in your house, I would lean more towards the justified, but that's up to the local prosecutor. So I would say for sure have a weapon light on your gun. That doesn't mean you have to keep it on at all times. Using a light properly is you sweep with the light. Everybody's like, oh, they'll follow the light right back to you, right? Well, you sweep with the light and the light's off. You use it judiciously, right? And you use the spill of the light. Light gives you an advantage. It's not difficult, it's common sense, right? And everybody says, well, what about pointing your light at the gun? You don't have to directly point your gun at the individual to be able to get positive identification, because you have spill. So, home defense gun, I would have it for sure. No doubt about it. If it's just a carry gun that you're not using as your home defense gun, I don't think you need it, but it can never hurt.
Yeah, I agree too. I've got my 365 with the Icarus Precision frame, the red dot and light on it. It's my carry gun. It's my nightstand gun. It's everything. Well, I've got another nightstand gun I'm working on that I don't know.
Do we want to talk about
show
that?
it on live stream because of
YouTube. When that's complete, maybe we'll show it. I think you can show it on live stream.
Well, I don't think you can show guns on live stream on YouTube, because you can do it on recorded, but I don't think you can do it on live stream.
Why? What's the logic behind that?
Because if someone were to do something untoward to themselves, they can't block it live stream if it's uploaded.
I mean, the nanny state continues, but
Troy said bad things happen in the dark and can't shoot shadow figures. Freedom says he has a flashlight on the nightstand next to the firearm, no light on his EDC. Troy says 1,000 lumens is stunningly bright.
Yes, a solid.
And Freedom says that's a good defense by itself.
Exactly, a true 500 lumens is really good, but 1,000 lumens is blazing.
Again, especially like you said, if you're not running around with your light on, waving it around, you're using it sparingly, and you pop 500 or 1,000 lumens on somebody's eyes who are adjusted to the dark, and it's going to be enough against you being behind the light. But when that light is in someone's face
and their pupils are already dilated and you hit them, yeah, baby. So if your EDC doesn't have, and it's your nightstand, have like Freedom has, have a flashlight there, right? So
you got to be able to see in the dark. Like Freedom says, there's spooky things in the dark.
Correct. That's the way to do it. And a lot of this stuff comes down to your personal preference too.
Yeah.
Right. It really does. I mean, people can say, oh, you must have this and this and this. A lot of it comes down to your personal preference. And the gun industry sees techniques come and go, right?
Yeah.
And what might be the in thing right now, and everybody, it's based on what you do, and this amount of gunfights that people got into may change coming in. The way we grip ARs is different over the last 10, 15 years, completely different.
Well, even look at the way pistols are held to shot. There's no,
Yeah.
used to be the cup and saucer. You know,
Yeah.
you would do underneath.
Yeah, with revolvers, it's still that way. And one of the reasons, from what I understand, the Glock has the Luger grip angle, but when that was being developed, there was a technique where you shot with one hand, right?
Yeah.
And look at all of the old Army material going back to
World 1911, shooting with one hand.
Yep. Yeah, and they're saying that grip facilitated that. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I've heard.
You train with any one type of grip enough, you're going to be effective with it. Could you be more effective with a different type of grip and training with that? Possibly, but you know, if you're like we all know, trigger squeeze is 90% of it.
Trigger squeeze and grip is, to me, trigger squeeze has always said, that's trigger squeeze is everything, but more and more when you look at this, it comes down to grip and what you're doing with grip, right?
Because whether your grip is influencing
the three amigos here, all of that. So
Troy said with his 1,000 lumens, they be seeing dots and spots.
Oh yeah.
Troy's inflicting retinal damage over here. There's motherfuckers walking around seeing sunspots.
That's exactly what he's doing. And the flashlight technology has come a long way. I remember when I was still in active duty, a 200 lumen light was like unbelievably bright. That was the cutting edge of technology. The new Surefires had 200 lumens, right? And we're like, I remember our weapon lights, I don't think had more than 180 lumens or 100. It was something weird, and this is not too long ago. This was 2010 when I got out. So, and if you go back a few years before that, dudes were taping with electrical tape lights onto the side of their plastic handguards on the old ARs that they were issued, the Car 15s and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's nuts. And the debate about red dots was still around when I was in. People were swearing they didn't need red dots. Who in their right mind doesn't have a red dot at the very minimum on their rifle today? Nobody.
Matt, we've got a person on YouTube that's dropped a couple of comments.
Okay.
Arishiba?
Oh yes, I guess I know who this is.
Okay. Yep. They've dropped a couple. She was talking, or they were talking about
it's Andrew. Yeah.
Andrew. Okay. He was talking about Trump is the only thing between us and total communist domination. And when you look right now with that statement, the whole Democratic Socialist of America, they're literally, the Democrat Party is literally being taken over by socialists.
Well, and they're not socialists; they're communists. I mean, they're putting socialist on it to give it.
Socialism is a step towards communism. I mean,
they're trying to soften it. But these guys are full blown communists, and part of their platform, from what I understand, is that all veterans are war criminals, right? Oh yeah, and they want to take all military benefits away, all of that, but give it to illegals. Right.
Yeah. Let's take the health care and meager benefits. Again, nobody's getting rich on veterans benefits. Let me tell you that. But let's take away the meager benefits that our veterans have for doing something that is what's the percentage of people that have signed the line you and I have signed, Matt, versus the ones that haven't? 1%.
Yes, that's
2%.
basically what it is. That's basically what it is.
So let's
And
take away the benefits that the 1% of the population that has signed up to do whatever administration is in charge. We don't get to pick and choose
mhm,
what administration we're serving under. You know, I was
yeah,
in for 10 years. I was in under two different presidents. Matt was in under two different. You don't get to pick and choose the administration you're serving under.
yeah,
You're there to follow orders and do what the commander in chief believes is in the best interest of the United
yeah.
States, whether you agree with it or not.
hmm
And yeah,
the
let's take that away from those people and give it to the
illegals,
people
so
that
they
sneak in
keep
under the
that
Constitution
these
line.
people trying to tear our country down in power.
Yeah.
That's the grift right there. So yeah, I think America sees this. Uh, New York needs to be allowed to fail. It needs to any money that's in that state needs to get out, because if you don't get out, they're coming for yours. And but if you leave and you go someplace like Florida, make sure you don't bring your politics that got New York into that position with you. So you better be fully on the red team when you come down to Florida and Texas and these other states that provide you the freedom to operate business as you should in America.
Well, you talk about the states up there, and I know we've gone over a little bit, but one of the other stories I had was a federal judge has ruled against the New York law banning ICE agents from wearing masks. Basically saying the state government can't dictate how the federal government operates.
Correct.
And in here there are also similar laws in California, Connecticut, New Jersey, Virginia, Philadelphia, and
Hmm.
Pennsylvania.
What makes
What do
these
all those have
places?
in common?
Yes. What do they have in common? Isn't it funny? They want these guys to be exposed
Yes.
so that their families and they are exposed for being law enforcement, doing what the people of this country want them to do. This is absolutely insane.
But
And
but but Matt, from their point of view, ICE is the bad guy. ICE is the villain. They
oh yeah,
should be exposed and run
yeah,
out and
they're the
terrorized.
villain because
That's
what they're doing is stopping the grift of bringing in unskilled
yes,
illegals that have no connection to this country in order to keep them in power, to vote, to get them numbers so they get more congressional representation. This is what it's all about. It's what it's
yep.
all about. Their power, not what they think is best for they don't give a shit. They want to flush this country down the drain. They think this country is too flawed, yet they won't leave this country. Isn't that funny?
Well,
Isn't that funny?
isn't it amazing how horrible America is,
Mm-hmm.
and hundreds of thousands of people are crashing our borders
Yes. Yes.
consistently to get here? We
Yeah.
can't be that bad compared to the rest of the world, but
Yeah, we've
that
we've got a small number of lunatics in this country that are very, very loud, and I think we've allowed them to have far too much of a voice already. We need
and
to get out there and vote, and we need to make sure that we've got politicians that are doing the American people's will. And right now, we have rhinos doing their master's will, not our will. They're doing their master's will in order to keep illegals here because their masters make money off of the illegals using your taxpayer dollars. Those
I
people
am
need to be purged.
I am a firm believer that social media has done more damage to the fabric of this nation than anything else because what it's
But
allowed.
there's been positives with social media too.
Well,
Look what's with X and Truth and
there
shows all
has.
over
I'm saying I'm not. I'm X
Rumble.
is an exception. I'm talking about TikTok, about Facebook, about
Yes.
all of these. They've allowed these vocal ultra minority groups
Mm-hmm.
to have an outsized influence. Look at we'll just for the sake of an example, we'll take the trans movement.
Mm-hmm.
It's a percentage of a percentage of the
Mm-hmm.
population, but look at everything that it's driving, everything that it is influencing. because they've been given this megaphone to shove into people's faces with social media, with their all this, with their shaming, all the it's a it's planned. It is all orchestrated.
Well, dude,
That's what's been done.
when you brought that up, you cannot absolve the media from this, because the media takes their
absolutely
narrative
not.
and pushes it and makes you believe that this is what everybody thinks. This is propaganda 101. And it's funny that you brought up the trans thing, because right now, what's going on in the WNBA, you have two women that are the only reason why anybody watches the WNBA at all.
Yeah.
Two women, Sophie Lloyd and Caitlin Clark. And they are being persecuted. Huh?
Cunningham.
Say that again? Oh, Sophie Cunningham. I said Lloyd. Sophie Cunningham. That's and Caitlin Clark. Sophie Cunningham's. They're both on the Indiana team, and you have them being beaten up, and you have the rest of the league, including their coach, clowning Sophie Cunningham. I thought her name was Lloyd. Sophie Lloyd Cunningham. Is it? But anyways,
no middle name. I know Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark,
but anyways, wearing shirts after she makes a comment that there shouldn't be males and female sports. Well, this is common sense to everybody, and there shouldn't be females in combat roles where you have to lower or eliminate standards for them to be there too. I'm just going to throw that out there because we're not really talking about it anymore. But these girls are getting beaten up, and they're the only reason why this league is alive anyways, right? And something needs to be done. There's full-on assault going on. So they'll get punched in the face they'll get elbowed in the face, and then they're going to get the foul called against them. The Olympic team comes up, and these girls are left off the Olympic team, even though they're the best players in the league. Yeah. And this is insane. This is absolutely insane. It's a disgrace. And people need to start standing up. I know people are, but could it be they're all for trans men in that league because they may already have some, right? There was a certain individual, I'm not going to name names, that was captured in a foreign country, and we had to give up a lot to get that individual back. Do a little research into that person, right? And there is some really, I'm not saying they are, but something ain't right? And I just wonder if there aren't already some in that league that we just don't know of. And I could be completely off base here, but something's not passing the scratch and sniff with that whole thing.
Just like you said, Matt, it's common sense. I guess if men and women are the same and there's no difference, why have we had segregated sports for generations?
Yeah.
And why is it you don't see it in the opposite direction? Why aren't there, women transitioning
crashing
men and playing in the NFL?
Yeah.
Why is it always men transitioning to women and then dominating the track meet, dominating the volleyball, the basketball, the softball? Why is it always the other way if they're the same?
One of the dudes, I think from Outkick or whatever, Clay Travis, has said he's going to put up 10 million of his own money or something along those lines, or $1 million. I don't know what it was. It's millions of dollars, right? And he's looking for one of the top male basketball teams to play the championship winning WNBA team. And whoever wins gets the money. You know damn well that women's team is going to get obliterated. Just like the under 15 males destroy the U.S. female Olympic soccer team every time they play them. Every time they play them, they destroy them. Under 14-year-old boys are destroying the best female soccer players this country has to offer. And
Caitlin Clark came out and she said she would be destroyed one-on-one versus any NBA player.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's not even a question. Any top high school male player, she's going to be destroyed. And that's
Yeah,
what you're going to
probably.
find out if this ever comes to pass. But they're not going to allow it to happen. They won't allow it to happen because the WNBA will be completely exposed for what it is. Okay, and me personally, I don't think a marketing plan of lesbian, pissed off, bad attitude women sells very much. So now
Angry ratchet lesbians isn't that
yes,
much of a selling point.
yes, beating up on the women that are bringing the people into the stadiums. So and our Olympic team passing over uh, Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham. Uh, Something is wrong, folks. Something is really wrong, and there needs to be an investigation at the U.S. Olympic Committee too. I've said this forever. They're a radical left-wing organization, and
Oh, huge.
they're destroying our athletics. So anybody who goes overseas and shits on the United States while wearing the United States uniform needs to be removed from the team immediately because you have failed the
Remove from the
country.
team and find
You
their
are
own
there
way
to
back
represent
home.
us. That's exactly right. There's alternates for a reason. Somebody opens their mouth like what happened in the Winter Olympics. That idiot is removed, and you replace that idiot with an alternate.
Yep.
So, period. And you're
All right.
destroying the Olympics for everybody else, and you're destroying it for the country, which is really what the Olympics are all about. So,
All right. You want to say your goodbyes, Matt? We're at
uh,
a minute or an hour
I say the
15.
same. I say the same thing every single time. Stu and I appreciate you guys coming here and joining us on Tuesday nights. We appreciate you guys being patriots more than anything. We need to keep pressure on and educate people. Keep pressure on. We got to get this SAVE Act passed. Do not let the rhinos get away with this. Do not let them get away with it. We need to make sure they're there to represent us and our will. And we are not going to allow them to destroy this. We need to make sure that we educate people and keep the pressure on. Thank you for being a patriot. Live in freedom every day. We will see you guys next Tuesday. Thanks again.
Yep. As Matt said, thanks everyone for showing up. Thanks for the chats, keeping involved in the conversation. Please share the show, pass it around. We're growing in bits and pieces, but we'd love to get out and have more eyeballs on the show. Matt and I are pretty proud of the duct tape production that happens once a week. It's amazing that it happens at
Well, you
all.
forgot baling wire, duct tape.
Baling wire, chewing gum, whatever.
Don't,
It
don't
happens.
sell it short.
Most times, rain or shine. There's a couple of times whenever things are just outside of our control and
Don't
we
don't
we we fail spectacularly. But we appreciate you
Stu.
guys.
Stu,
Um,
don't sell the show short. We're tremendous slouches.
we appreciate everyone sticking with us and understanding. But spread the word. Bring in more people if you can. We'd love to have more people a part of the show. But we will see everyone next Tuesday, same time, same channel, and we'll have some more stories dug up to chit chat on.
I'm surprised you didn't say
You,
Bat Channel, Stu, because you're a nerd and you're into Batman and whatnot.
same bat time, same bat channel, baby.
I thought
Always.
that's exactly what you were going to say.
I was. I had to stop myself from saying it.
What are your spidey
Uh,
senses telling you?
it is
Yeah.
Spidey Sense. Thank you, Andrew, on YouTube. We've got Troy and Freedom on Rumble. We appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. And we will see all of you next Tuesday.
Living freedom every day.